Anyway, let's move on. That was a fumble on my part. Not the you know what. But I mean, the other thing. You know, when I used a certain no word. That was where I fumbled. That was a genuine accident. Okay, it just slipped out. Now, the other word I used, that was all me, baby. Oh my god. What word? You don't remember anything? Oh, weird. I can't remember either. Anyway, what were we doing? You said something about a VTuber. What's the name? Depressed Nousagi? Is Bao quitting VTubing? What is this Bao drama? I don't know anything about Bao. I used to watch, I watched like 2 of her streams in the past. I don't really know much about her or why everyone hates her now. Oh, he has a whole video 3 months ago for Bao.
It is so
Really?
easy to get hated on the internet. One moment you are the darling of
Current state of VTubing? Oh, the absent state of VTubing. Is this it? Okay. TLDR, Bao did a face reveal doing more. Oh, yeah, I'd be mad too. The thing about VTubing is that there are several types of VTubers. Like, you put on a character, like HoloLive, and then you do kind of like the middle ground thing like I do. Like, I lean into the fact that I'm a 4,000-year-old champion, you know, half succubus, half human. Like, that's my whole, you know, my lore. But I still act like a real person. Like, I react to things in real time. I tell you guys about certain aspects of my life. Like, but I'm not going to do a face review or anything like that. You know, that would defeat the whole purpose of being a VTuber.
VTubing is ruined. What happened to VTubers? Why is VTubing so negative
Wow.
now? It's a sincere question that you might have asked, especially if you came into the
Coco!
industry back in its early establishment.
I miss her.
And it's a question laced with
I
negativity.
know she's,
usually.
what's her name? Tae-san now.
If you've been around since like 2020, 2019, you might have a fond memory of what it represented. It was a time when it was magical, it was fresh. Everything was glittering with inspiration and creativity. You felt emotions you've never felt before, a space to enjoy and escape from the real world that was...
You don't understand what? Sorry. You don't understand why people are upset at her for doing it when VTubers like Tae-san constantly show her face. The double standard is there, I think. It's an Asian woman thing. But nobody wants to talk about her. At the same time, I don't think any VTubers should be showing their face. Or their body. Period.
breathing down your neck. But now? Well, it just seems like many places are on fire and it's hard to ignore the screaming in the background. And it's usually the same cycle. First comes venting, then callouts, then vague posting, then politics, high school level drama, every single week. It's gotten to a point that I'm getting tired of it. Me, a fucking slop-eating, slop-making retard. We have VTubers themselves reminiscing about the good times, pondering what happened. Somewhere in 2020 and 2026, a poison was dropped in the well. Something
It's called feminism. It's called wokeness. That's what happened.
that cascaded the industry into this messy dumpster fire that, despite its many ups and downs, many people still call home. So, what?
Every problem you can ever think of, blame it on wokeness. I'm not kidding.
But before we continue, may I interest you in other videos not meant for the see? In that case, I recommend you join my channel membership for my video. You have monthly exclusive banners in there as well as uncensored versions of certain content, all ad-free. Besides, you help me keep creating banners like these in the long term for your support. So if you have some spare change for a copy of my or something, consider giving it to me instead. Anyway, that's all.
Free Tucci.
Go back to the video. Let's make things
Free Tucci.
2020, where a lot of traditional fans became fans, the scene has always been plagued with a lot of negativity and
Ame
drama.
was one of my favorites too. I love Hollow Myth, Gura, all 5 of the girls. I'm sorry. Disney Madonna has some spicy meat in it.
ballistic behavior,
Yeah, I like all of Hollow Myth.
especially from Hololive fans and Nijisanji fans. During those days, stuff happened, like Yozoramel harassed in the workspace, Mano Aloe's graduation exploding in Hololive's face, Capcom intentionally targeting Hololive for not getting proper permissions for their games, Hololive fans being skeptical of English, the Keryo Coco Taiwan incident, Hololive China being dissolved, and the political shenanigans that came from.
Oh my god. I remember that. I was not even there for like, I'll be honest, I kind of stay out of VTuber drama, but this was huge. I remember this. This was massive for so many reasons. And then didn't one of them get kidnapped? Like by, and sold as a slave in China? But then she escaped? Something like that. I don't know. I think the one on the left, right? God, I don't know if that was real. Sorry, what, kidnapped? Yes. There was a real story about a VTuber got kidnapped IRL in China, and then they were forced. They were serving some old lady. I don't know. But they escaped or something like that. I don't know if it was a real story or not, but that was the story she told for her absence. I think that was like a few months. It was. I don't know if it was true or not, but I forget which VTuber it was. I think it was the one on the left. Silver hair, red eyes. Is it that one, maybe? But yeah, it was in China. I don't know if it was Hololive or whatnot, but it was definitely a Chinese VTuber. Kiara is cool, you know her? Like IRL? In the same small city? Kiara, wait. Like, you know that, I know the person behind Kiara, or I at least, I've seen videos of it. I'm not allowed to, you know, I don't know if Hololive would sue me or not for saying anything, but a lot of the Hololive VTubers, you can find their real accounts or other personas before they became members of Hololive, at least the English ones. But yeah, I've seen what Kiara looks like IRL. So you like know her in real life? That's pretty cool. I know a few, Doujin artists. I think I mentioned this before. Have you guys, well, I'm pretty sure everyone knows Emergence or Metamorphosis, whatever it's called. Does this seem familiar to you? I know, well, I worked with someone whose best friends was this guy. Or they're good friends, at least the senpai and student, I guess. I worked on some Doujin material or Doujin adjacent material with someone who knows this guy personally. I don't know them personally, but I know someone who does. And I've worked with them. The thing is, Doujin artists and other like any H artist, it's just a regular person. They're not some super big celebrity who's unreachable. They're just closeted degenerates who just happen to, you know, get popular with their doujins. They're really easy to find in contact. Not find, but, you know, get in contact with. They're not like, it's not like you're talking to Jay-Z or Michael Jackson or something. You know, they're just normal people who just happen to have a popular manga. You wish you could unread this? So have you made a doujin before? I've not made a doujin, but I am working on H games. And real games, I guess. But I'm working on a lot of doujin adjacent stuff. But I have not made an actual doujin. You what? Yeah. I worked with someone who was related to the person or is friends with the person who made this. UV8 as a lolly girl in a fanfic. Ooh, which fanfic? Ikadomo ni Jikan? That's a legendary anime. And believe it or not, the author for Kodomo ni Jikan is a woman. A female lolicon. Right here. This. Yeah. Rin Kokonoe. Like, oh my god. Like that. Rin Kokonoe and all that. This was made by a woman. The female mangaka. So you're in Miru tights. You wanted to read some of my work or things I help with. Things I help with. I guess the most public thing, semi-public, if you know where to look. Some of you may recognize this. Some of you may not. I believe I streamed it at one point. Yeah. I had a small part in this. Emphasis on small. But yeah. You played that before? Yeah, I did. Agent Miss UVA, one of the characters. Ooh. So it's mirror. Let me see. Obviously I can't show this on screen, but oh, wait a minute. This is not what I thought it was. I remember this. This is in 2020 or 2019. I can't remember. Nira tights. Anime all about tights. You're a high-pitched voice, man. That's a gift. So was Michael Jackson. Use it well. You can do a lot of, them white stuff. They would say. Unfortunately, you're a very deep voice man. Well, that can change. You can change your cadence if you train your voice. It takes a while. Well, it takes a lot of practice. From what I hear, at least for men. You can only do lolly voices, though. You pretty should. If you do lolly voices, you can do Shota voices. You make a lot of money. You get hired a lot. You probably already do. I don't know much about your history, but that's impressive. Yes. I just want to emphasize that, yeah. I know a lot of mangaka, shall we say.
From that, Mori Calliope's Lane incident, Mori Calliope's Connor incident, Mori Calliope being baited by the trolls incident, Mori Calliope's Connor incident, Mori Calliope...
What? Wait. What was this all about?
From that, Mori
Connor?
Calliope's Lane...
What, Sea-Dog, right? The Sea-Dog VA? What did he do?
Incident, Mori Calliope's Connor incident, Mori Calliope being baited by the trolls incident, Mori Calliope's Gura incident. There was a lot of Mori Calliope drama. Heck, even outside Hololive, we had...
It's like... I don't know. I don't know what it is about her. But she always finds herself within drama of some kind. You never hear anything about Ina. Never. Chiara has their fair share of drama too. Like when she collabed with Nyanners. A lot of people don't like Nyanners for reasons I understand. I think we have to move on at one point. Like she's not. She may be uncomfortable with her past, but she's not a bad person. Chiara and Nyanners are mostly drama free. Yeah. For Nyanners, it was more of a certain group of people. They think Nyanners is an auntie. She's not. She's just It's hard to explain. She's not a bad person. She's not. You just move on.
Voice replacement incident of Kizuna Ai, the King Yuzaka Meru vs. Yuzuki Rua Civil War, Project Melody's VTuber model getting copyright struck by the modeler. I could name a lot more, but most of the drama I'm gonna wager you haven't really heard of, especially the smaller ones. Or you might even think that it wasn't that big of a deal. But even despite all this negativity, there was a massive upside. People chose not to focus on the drama too much and the negativity, including myself. Because VTubing was so magical, it incited a lot of very deep and positive emotions. It inspired so much creativity and will that the fact that there were a lot of drama was almost brushed under the rug. In this
Kira,
one
my
small
love.
bubble, the positivity overpowered the negativity, even while that negativity was happening during its peak. But as the magic of VTubing slowly disappeared, as the freshness faded and the industry expanded, that positive energy also went away. The honeymoon
It
period
did.
being over left fans.
It was Hollow Council, right? The sequel to Hollow Myth, Hololive E and Gen 2. The one with Crony in it. I don't hear anyone talk about anyone but Crony. And the other one that graduated, she self-graduated actually, she quit. I think due to health reasons. The dark-skinned one, she was the one I liked, but she was cute, but she quit. Like, I don't even remember the other three's names. I just know Crony.
Roiling in the negativity that remains. But a few people might not see it that way, especially
It is
the newcomers.
oversaturated.
I hear a lot of opinions about why VTubing became the way that it is, whether or not they prefer it. VTubers focused so much on the streamer
Sana,
aspect
yes.
rather than the character
I love
part.
Sana.
I interpreted this as a lot of newcomers focusing too much on the
I'm so
business
mad that
rather
she
than the
quit.
fun,
I really liked her
becoming
model.
overall a well-oiled machine rather than an entertainer. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have tweets like this from Jocat saying that
Idol culture is... You know what? I take back everything I said. I'm not getting into this.
VTubing is becoming better because
I don't
everyone
wanna
is
get into
slowly
this.
shedding the idol culture parts of the medium. So which is it? Is VTubing becoming worse or getting better? Obviously, your answer will
Oh, there
ultimately
she is, Sana. God, I miss her.
depend on factors like
Look
when
how
you
good her model
getting
was.
better. Obviously, your answer will ultimately depend on factors like when you became interested in VTubing and entered the industry, and who your favorite creators are.
You guys remember Iris's old model?
And if you are a creator you're interested in VTubing and enter the industry, and who your favorite
I'm sorry. Her new model's so much better. I'm sorry. It's not bad art, but it's just, it just looks off. The eyes are so dull. The nose was kind of big.
creators are.
She looked a bit meh. No shade to the artist, but it just didn't look Hololive, if that makes sense.
And if you are a creator yourself, what kind of creator
I mean, just look at the
the industry
difference between
who
her
your
and
favorite
Crony.
creators are, and if you are a creator yourself.
See? Top, bottom right corner. They just look so different. Like, they're from different worlds. It just, it didn't really work. In my opinion.
What kind of creator you wanna be.
Ooh! Gen 3 of Hololive. I forgot her name, but I've seen a lot of art of her.
And as you can
Seen a
surmise from the
lot.
title, I am leaning towards the former, especially because I am a traditional VTuber fan, who mostly watches VTubers that
Shiori?
associate
Right.
more with the JP
No, that's Gen 4. Oh my god, I'll be honest, I've stopped keeping track of all the new gens.
adjacent culture rather than the English Twitch streamer
I mainly
culture.
watch Gura.
And from my thinking, I have created a model that encapsulates why VTubing has become the way that it is. I call it the 4Ds. Difficulty, disillusionment, division, and drama. I think this is the loop that made VTubing the way that it is, and wherever you might have started falling into the piece here, I've noticed that it always happens
4D
in this
cups.
order. So let me break it down. As VTubing expanded, there became more viewers, more money to harvest, but also more competition. There became less things to try and innovate on.
Oh my god, Demi. Is she still streaming? She probably is. Honestly, she probably got more successful from the drama. Yeah. I mean, she did put it on herself. The whole not wanting, lewd art of her. And then the explosion of lewd art everywhere. And, what she said to Chibi was completely uncalled for. So yeah, she took it out, a massive one. But I mean, honestly, it made her more popular too. So was it really a no? Maybe emotionally, it was an L, but I'm pretty sure she got a lot more viewers after that.
Back then, when there were
So-
few VTubers, innovation and even unique character design elements and gimmicks were easier to do because the space was emptier. There were still lots of strats and undiscovered niches, but now, a lot of niches has been filled.
Looks like a Disney
Standing
character.
out has become a lot more difficult.
That's
This bred a
scary.
bit of desperation, a sense of defensiveness or insecurity for a VTuber's own content, design, and even fans.
This
We saw a
music
small-
it sounds familiar. I know where this music's from. It's from, Needy Girl Overdose. How fitting.
glimpse of this behavior from multiple big VTubers when the Cinder incident happened. When VTubing became big, it started to get more difficult to create content that could retain your viewers while also attracting more. This might not be the
W
case
game,
for
by
a
the
lot
way.
of
Yep.
the bigger already established
Hell yeah.
creators, but it is the case for most of the creators that wanted to climb the ladder, and believe me, there was a lot. Without the support of something like Hololive, how the hell were you supposed to grow your own brand? This was when a lot of new agencies popped up, led by people with mysterious background and probably almost zero business experience. And they promised you a little bit of what Hololive does, but without the glam and pre-established numbers. Some VTubers join these agencies, but normally, they are short-lived because a lot of them collapse in the most miserable yet spectacular way. It's a miracle
never
if
heard
they
of
just
Luminara.
die peacefully and, without drama. Whether these incidents happen because the CEO was a sex pest, or the genmates were schizophrenic that it ruins the company from the inside, or, maybe just the simple but innocent CEO is not that good at business. Lots of things could go wrong behind the scenes, and it could genuinely affect how some of these VTubers see the industry. But let's say you're just an indie that didn't need an agency but needed a bit of help. Perhaps the aid of a third-party company or solo managers was the way to go. But then turns out, you end up being scammed or being sex-pested. Seems to be a common occurrence here for some reason. But when agencies and companies weren't enough, some people started to do interesting things. Without the support of an agency, the strat for a lot of VTubers
Male
was
VTubers are not popular. They're very niche. There are a lot of loser girls out there. Like a lot of loser males, I would say, who simp over celebrities. And the same thing is from girls, but there's just more, there's more lonely men out there than there are lonely women. From what at least on the internet. So it's more of a numbers thing, semantics. But, I mean, let's be honest, that's what idol culture appeals to. Like you said, you go naked again for male VTubers. That never happened.
to be active on Twitter and engage with fans and nerd stuff before debuting themselves. At first, this was a success, with one
Male VTubers have a niche, but once you go down the Shota route, yeah, Shota VTubers are more popular than regular male avatars. There's several reasons for that. Look at Taiga. I honestly, I think Taiga, I don't think Taiga's actually a femboy. I think Taiga's a girl pretending to be a femboy. Don't tell him or her I said that. But still, Shotavati. Taiga has so many followers because of that. Going naked, this was information withheld from you. No comment.
One of the more notable examples being Artemis of the Blue. But then some of these people started bitching and whining about the lack of success instead of, actually streaming and putting effort and researching what they want to do. These permanent debut TBA creators would be called V-tweeters. And I mentioned them because a lot of the negativity and drama
Oh my god, the V-tweeters. I remember them. For so long, they were just... They would do nothing but stay on Twitter all day long and complain or try to cancel someone out of boredom or lack of their own success. This was going on before I even thought of VTubing.
that happens in the industry is on Twitter and is caused by V-tweeters and tweets in general, regardless if they were V-tweeters or not. But some of them actually started grinding, and some would even implement a few less than ethical tactics. At first, it was relatively subtle, like copying design elements, sometimes intentionally to leech off.
Hang on.
First, it was relatively subtle, like copying design elements. Sometimes
copying design.
At first, it was relatively subtle, like
I don't know who any of these people are, but they do look similar. Wait, was this somebody's? Oh, okay. This was somebody's art, and then somebody commissioned a VTuber that looks similar to it. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but it does look similar. Then again, people say I look like Rev Says Jesu all the time. That was never my intention. I just wanted a legally distinct Kitoko Itsuki. This is my favorite.
Copying design elements, sometimes intentionally to leech off of one of the popular ones, sometimes unintentionally. Not to leech, but because they found it to be a cool design gimmick or because they looked up to the VTuber, or sometimes...
Like me, with Kitoko Itsuki. Like, am I gonna get cancelled for using her likeness? In a sense?
Two different minds just come up with the same design or gimmick at the same time. But then it started to escalate. People started aggressively collabing with other VTubers, not to foster friendships, but to borrow their platforms.
Of course, furry VTubers. Ooh, she has wings. Like butterfly wings, that's cute.
Having their fingers on a bit of everyone's pie. They would pretend to be fans or supportive, slowly worming their way to that creator's circle, pestering them, not really even considering them as friends, but more so jumping pads just so they can leech off of them a little.
I'm the kidder Rev and Darling Straub. Honestly, maybe. I used to say he's my long-lost twin brother, but hey.
Your discussion even up.
Wait, did you actually expect us to become friends after collab? I do it.
Appeared on Twitter about this, on whether or not collabing should purely be a business decision or something you should be able to do with just your friends. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but
the collab is purely a business thing. Expecting that person to be your friend afterwards is unrealistic. Content creators don't like each other. They put up with each other. Now, if they live together and they genuinely, like, they're having sex, that's a different story. Like, Sea Dog and Iron Mouse.
Does speak to the intentions of many VTubers and how they appear on stream. Because to a fan, how do we tell who are real friends versus who are just collabing to social climb and rub shoulders with bigger content?
Every single one is collabing for business. Sometimes it's for fun, but friendships among VTubing, this is something, even as a new VTuber, this is kind of obvious. It's obvious with content creators in general. Like, your friends are very limited. But your actual friends are not going to be as big as you, or they'll be bigger than you. And, that's going to cause some sort of division. Like, that just happens. It depends for you, to be honest. If you have dumb shit talks for 3 hours afterwards, I guess you're kind of cool. Like you said, I guess it depends. But yeah, most of the time it is just business.
It got to a point that even big creators started complaining about how used they feel when they became victims of this. But VTuber wannabes weren't the only parasites. There were also Twitch e-girls. Even e-girls and Twitch streamers were using the VTuber tag on Twitch at one point to capitalize
Yes, I remember this. Oh god. I was so mad. I wasn't even a VTuber back then, but I remember Amaranth doing this. I remember that.
Trend, which gave way for a lot of these e-girls to try their hand on the medium, without really even understanding, appreciating, or participating in the culture. But if that wasn't enough, they'd repost memes, copy-paste and recycle engagement bait strats. And look, I respect it. I like reading through some of these trends and engagement baits myself, but some of them can get a little too weird for comfort. It could be vague posting about something, it could be a rage bait, it could be sympathy bait, or even virtue signaling. Sometimes they'd even join trends that are usually a guaranteed attention magnet like art raffles, or more notoriously, VTuber versus IRL, who started off innocent enough and still in line with the medium, but then they started to integrate actual flesh posting. And the moment this happened, then they started off.
I like this. This is genuine. Drawing your real self over your VTuber as a drawing, that's fine.
Art raffles, or more notoriously,
but
VTuber
posting
versus
your actual
IRL,
picture,
who started off
cringe.
Innocent enough and still in line with the medium, but then they started to integrate actual flesh posting. And the moment this happened, it became a bit of a slippery slope. Because then a lot of indie VTubers started to not just stop on the VTuber versus IRL trend, but started to integrate their bodies and faces as part of their regular content. And I'm not talking about the occasional hand cam or walking streams, I'm talking about IRL. I say this mostly as observation than judgment, but there's a lot of VTubers whose regular content...
Wait a minute. Wait.
Well, I say this mostly...
The bottom right. Nia. That's a Lele, template.
As observation than judgment, but there's a lot of VTubers whose regular content, whether that be on their streams or on their tweets, aren't really even of their characters anymore, but rather their bodies, and it eventually falls into a pipeline of doing OnlyFans or fanslay content that don't even use their VTuber models' porn like what many authentic lewd VTubers do. And look, I know there's a lot of...
I like, Project Melody. I don't see she's ever been in a controversy. She seems relatively unproblematic, other than, some circles calling her an Igor. I don't really think it matters.
Weird hate against fanslay using VTubers now, and if the VTuber uses their actual VTuber models or just art of themselves, I think that's fair game. The occasional flesh posting to me is okay, especially cosplay-related ones, even if it's not safe for work.
What's the problem?
Especially if you've been upfront about your content, and especially if that was the natural pipeline for your career, like if you were a porn VA, for example, or a VR chat streamer. But I think...
That's, Silverveil. I remember that's how I got into the Harry Potter thing. Because they tried to cancel her for playing it. So out of spite. Oh, and Pikami. When Pikami, graduated because of those weirdos going after her. That's when I decided, I'm playing the game. And I enjoyed it. And I watched all the movies.
If your regular content and your NSFW is just your IRL, especially with your face attached and you market yourself as a VTuber, I would be inclined to think that in large part, you're not really a VTuber. Of course, there are exceptions, especially when you're categorized as a live streamer who happens to have a VTuber model, like Onigiri and Keisan, but it's hard not to think that.
So, I guess that's what I should have said. Keisan was an IRL streamer already, and then she got a new VTuber model afterwards. It's different. But if your whole thing is that you're a VTuber first, and you don't, the illusion of being a character, or, this model, then you should stick to that, in my opinion.
way. And the thing is,
Porn stars nowadays are beginning to become really ugly too. Well, that's because, fictional women are perfect. They have perfect proportions, perfect designs, perfect colors. They set an unrealistic standard. Or not unrealistic, but rather a non-common standard. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mind you, I feel the same way.
trend is not exclusive to Western VTubing, as much as a lot of the whining traditional fans like to believe. Many indie JP VTubers actually exploit this as well. If you use the godforsaken site known as Twitter, you might have seen a lot of these. A lot of VTubers bouncing their tits and showing their full naked bodies, and it gets them lots of views. Goonbait is and always will be a tried and true method for catching the attention in the internet. But
Speaking
perhaps
of,
on a VTuber
I do want to. My plan for Faisley has been postponed for now, but I will be pursuing it still. So stay tuned.
YouTuber's last attempt to find viewers, some take on one of the bigger gambles, breaking what used to be a big taboo in VTubing: political commentary. You see, traditionally, VTubing was supposed to be non-political. Like, there was nothing about anime e-girls that was supposed to reflect real-world current happenings. It was supposed to be a place for escapism. You don't fucking preach about BLM and fuck ICE whenever you're live or you're tweeting, but you also don't preach about the fucking loss of Christian values or pearl clutch about sex workers. But as it is when niche nerdy things become mainstream, political people come in from all walks and backgrounds. It's always been a thing on Twitter, but they were largely ignored up until the big 2023, when Pikami and Silvervale were harassed by Twitter slacktivists because they
By trans people.
dared to play the wizard game. But then other communities started to form, and then other communities that were formed to counter them. It subtly started with people like Kershaw. Pipa also got roped into it.
I'm also a result of this. Like, those people started invading our hobby, and not so much in the VTuber space, but, invading our hobbies, getting involved with things that they shouldn't be getting involved with. So I started biting back. Then when Charlie Kirk got killed, I was like, yeah, I have no filter anymore. I'm going nuclear on all of them. Because they laughed at his death. Millions of people laughed at his death. So I'm making my mission to make fun of them. So if something bad happens to them, I mock them to hell. And honestly, I don't care about them anymore. That black-pilled me. Or I guess red-pilled me. More so than anything else. That's why I talk about politics.
Pro doesn't want any of this
One of the
bullshit
reasons
in the
why.
industry and was never really part of the entire culture war. However, the identity politics crowd deemed her to be right-leaning because she hates that this poison was infesting the industry, and because Face Connect was, loved by
They literally pushed her into that. And she's not even a culture war VTuber. She just says some things sometimes. No, she did own Hassan once. Oh, no, it wasn't Hassan. Was it Destiny, I think? There was someone recently that she literally owned on live. I think it was Destiny. The horse fucker? Vouch? Oh, God, I hate that idiot. Does he still stream? He's literally the IRL version of an ugly bastard. I'm sorry. Absolutely disgusting. And yes, Face Connect is 4chan, yeah,
was
of course.
infesting the industry, and because Face Connect was, loved by 4chan. On the other side of the aisle,
Because
there
they
were
were
also
based.
multiple people making their declarations, like Uki
And I'll be honest with you. 4chan is filled with jaded internet users and hackers. That's 4chan. People have been on the internet and just had no filter and just, I guess you could say they're the real internet in a way. the true internet.
Violetta of Nijisanji En's blatant hate for white people, and Finana's Educate Yourself incident, claiming that the Japanese term trap was transphobic. This happened in 2022, but whatever. A lot of these politically charged incidents slowly but surely gave rise to a new breed of political figures. Now, we have seemingly right-leaning figures like Powder and Leaflet, while on the other we have Nyara
and Starlight.
and Anna Valens, question mark? Sorry, I could not think of any left-leaning politically charged VTubers that had like a bigger platform. There are also more on Twitter, by the way. We now have lots of political commentators in VTubing who mostly just tweets about it and occasionally does a little bit of streaming.
I love Leaflet. Leaflet is my wife. My future wife.
Doesn't stream at all. I'd explain more of the history about how this happened, but that's worth an entire video. Y'all are gonna have to—
the reason why it's happening is because those idiots started getting involved in VTubing in the first place. If these left-wing retards just left good enough alone and ignored VTubers and anime culture and stopped trying to invade our hobbies, you wouldn't have Leaflet. You wouldn't have Powder. You wouldn't have me as my current self. You wouldn't have all of this. You wouldn't even have Asmongold. At least to the type of, extreme he is now. When we say they call us reactionary. Yes, we are. We're reacting to your disgusting behavior. And you've created a group of people who go out of their way to mock you and fight back in the culture war. Because you had to defend turning little kids into girls, little boys into girls, cutting off their genitals. You had to defend Tesla bombings. You had to defend literal terrorism and glazing, just disgusting behavior. All of that stuff. And then canceling people over opinions, making them lose their jobs over something they may have said years ago. Like stuff like that. Those are the kinds of people that ruined everything. They don't realize this is all self-inflicted. They did this to themselves. Now everyone's openly racist, openly sexist, and openly, they just don't give a fuck. People are chewed through. And now they're going out of their way to trigger you because you couldn't leave well enough alone. All these woke retards, all these leftists, they did it to themselves. They did it to themselves. And now you have people like Leaflet. You were not too late because we talked about that just before. Would have loved to raid you. Oh, really? What time do you stream? Because I usually do 7 Eastern Standard Time. 7 p.m. That's when I usually start streaming. We're just OG normal people? Yeah. Literally. 20 p.m. 1 CET. 1 a.m. CET, let me see. That's literally 7 p.m. EST. It says. 1-8. Oh, wait. Oh, you stop at 7. Hang on. Okay, so you start at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you stop at 7 p.m. So literally, when you stop is when I start. Wow. Maybe I can try earlier. Who knows?
On a super reductive, oversimplified version.
But yes, we're just normal people who, some of us have been radicalized. Like myself. I'm very radicalized. I say whatever I want, and I don't care who I offend. Unless it's against Twitch TOS. And also, that thing that happened, or that did it happened earlier. That thing that did not happen. Okay? Nothing happened. Alright? But, yes. I consider myself radicalized. Mostly because of the Charlie Kirk thing. That was like my breaking point. Where I said, I don't care who I offend anymore. I don't care. They got too comfortable. Someone needs to put them in their place. And if what I say sounds harsh to people, if what I say makes people feel weird, good. I hope it does. Most of us normal people, we just want to create and say what we want and have all the freedom. Yeah. Most of us just wanted to be left alone and, engage in our hobbies. But they couldn't even let us have that. So, and now they want to call us racist, right-wing, whatever's. Literally Hitler for defending our hobbies. Charlie's death changed you too. Yeah, it did a lot of people. A lot of people after that, it just, not just the death, the assassination, but the reaction to it. The disgusting, vile reaction. That's why I say what I do. That's why whenever I say something that sounds harsh, I double down. I triple down. I do not care about these people. If it was up to me, I'd be like Yagami for these people. I'm not kidding. If I could be like Yagami, I would. For each and every single one that laughed at Charlie Kirk. In a heartbeat, I do it. Without a second thought. I Thanos them. I'm not even kidding. That's how I've become radicalized. If I had the Death Note in my hand right now, I'd use it. On them. Every last one. And I would never apologize. I would not bat an eye. The world would be a better place without those people. That's my genuine belief. But where you're getting called Nazi as a black person by those weirdos, and that's the thing. The word Nazi has lost all meaning. The things they call us, fascist, like last stream, I don't know if you guys remember, we watched that video by Brain Dump. Remember, they said apparently he was gonna attempt assisted suicide or something, but he canceled it. I don't know. But remember, we watched this last week. Or was it 2 weeks ago? I can't remember.
Hey folks, before we get into it, just wanted to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by none other
fascism?
than Raid Shadow!
The whole episode was a joke because they couldn't define it. Yeah, it was making fun of the people who call everything fascist now. If Trump was actually a fascist, you would not be free right now. You would be in a concentration camp. But logic doesn't exist among those people. That's why I don't think they deserve rights. I think we should actually put them in camps and put them to work. At least the ones that commit crimes. That's just my personal opinion. That's not going to change. These people have proven time and time again that they're literal monsters and they don't deserve human rights. That's my opinion.
All of this
So
combined.
I've gotten on a tangent. But my point is, people like me, Leaflet, Powder, Rev, and other VTubers, like, I guess, quote unquote, right wing. I don't like to call us right wing. I like to call us common sense VTubers. But they'll put us in the right wing bubble. And we do have some right wing adjacent opinions. Not all. Like, I don't agree. Some of the trans stuff or the porn stuff. Like, I'm very much an open hentai lover. But other than that, people like us were created because they wouldn't stop. They just kept getting so power hungry. They just kept going over and over, canceling whoever they wanted, doxing whoever they wanted, and killing whoever they wanted. And the government just let it happen. because it was racist to notice.
Video, y'all are gonna have to settle on a super reductive, oversimplified version. All of this combined had VTubing develop its own battleground of political ideologies. Now more than ever, talking about politics is a risky yet effective way to grow your numbers, regardless of right or left. If you are a traditional VTuber fan, it's like a landfill was forming right outside your gated village. If you go outside the gate, you can definitely fucking smell it. It's gotten to a point that even it has attracted the attention of traditional fans who normally wouldn't participate in these kind of discussions. But in
Not
lieu of
silly
the
right-wing, we're pro-hentai, anti-age verification, and against mass surveillance and the Heritage Foundation. Well, what's the Heritage Foundation? I don't know what that is. Powerful right-wing public policy research institute or think tank based in Washington, D.C. We just want our OG niche community back. Exactly. But that's not going to happen. Politics has invaded everything. Everything we love. So it's best to use it to your advantage than just try to hope it goes away. Because it's not going away.
Being outside, some feel compelled to say their piece, especially Nijisanji fans, because some members there are more politically driven than others. Though perhaps it was always inevitable that politics was going to invade VTubing. So, hey, you know, if you need a quick number or follower boost, say one of the two things. The N-word, hard R, and preach about Christianity or something.
Anyway.
Or that white people need to be cold and fuck the patriarchy. Or something. But Nousagi, I hear you ask, what if I'm not
Fuck the matriarchy.
Not North American and these politics don't apply to me? Tough luck. Pretend to be a Westoid, I guess. Or maybe be racist towards Koreans and the Chinese instead. That usually works sometimes. All these strategies, from copying design elements, copying and participating in rampant engagement, sympathy, and rage-bait,
the ginarchy,
the leeching, the trend joining, the drama farming, we'll get into that later, and the political drifting, all scream one point. Everyone wants attention. That everyone, and I mean everyone, is competing hard for the limited attention and eyes VTubing has. VTubing ultimately has a cap on the numbers of viewers. The biggest VTuber that we have that is yet to be surpassed was Gargura at 4 million subscribers. That is like less than 10 times smaller than the regular community. And it's one that hasn't really moved significantly since 2020. So everyone is a bit desperate. Everyone is struggling to keep their career sustainable and is often willing to do anything to reach the top or maintain their status quo. Even if it means betraying. Even if it means LARPing. Even if it means sacrificing your mental health. And because everyone is having a difficult time, it leads to the next D in our pipeline. Disillusionment. For the VTuber side, after the usual agency experience of being abused or sex-fested or even bullied by your own genmates, it might be a little hard to trust people again. But what is even harder is if the people you used to work with, like your genmates, started to actually be successful and climb the ladder. You know some of these people. They are not good people. How the fuck are they being rewarded? Another case, what if the acquaintance or friend that you've trusted so much that you've exposed your heart to ends up betraying you after 1 or 2 disagreements? Hell, another would be if a third-party company that you hired to deal with your shit
This is why
ended up
I refuse to be a partner with anyone. Or at least, you know, do like regular collabs, even if I like you. Like, this is where it always leads up, you know? I'm just trying to do my own thing.
Scamming you. Maybe the fans you've lovingly cultivated decides to abandon you after you're no longer the shiniest girl in the block. Or worse, if you do GFE, turn into an auntie after they just try to dox you and discover that you had a partner, or if you did something that they did not like. What does any of this mean for a girl? Disillusionment. The magic is gone. You see the industry for what it truly is behind the scenes. Different cabals scheming, conniving, and backstabbing their way to the top. A bunch of immature, high school-minded, and emotionally, intellectually stunted people who would dump an expose on your ass for a mistake that could have been talked out in private. A bunch of predatory and exploitative individuals trying to siphon as much money and clout as they can from anyone they can snake out of. This medium that used to inspire so much creative spark in you has begun to develop a negative association, a feeling that looms so heavy it makes you want to give up on this industry. And that is a very, very sad thing. And if you are a fan or an audience member, it's a bit simpler. The collapse of multiple agencies you might have been a fan of, the exposés and many mistakes of the creators you've loved, the vague posting, the frequent drama that they get themselves embroiled in.
You say politics pushed onto us, but I can do with that in Austria. Also, what do JP politics have to do with USA politics? Not much, but censorship is a problem in Japan nowadays. A lot of Japanese games are being censored by with USA sensibilities. And that's something we're fighting against actively. We got partnered with Anchor Games, who got the Muv-Luv series over here, even though you can't play their games on stream because it's 18 plus. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that, that's what we're trying to give back. Because a lot of people are so anti-fiction, so anti-fan service, so anti-lolicon. Just everything. It's just insane. Over what ultimately does not even matter. It's literally just escapism for people. They just want their entertainment to go into and then move on with their lives. That's it. But no, apparently that's worse than committing murder to these people. Someone went to jail in Texas for over anime. I don't know the details, but I'll be honest, I don't even want to know. I'm so over it.
The side comments, the questionable decisions, all piled on top of each other. It plants a seed of doubt in your head. And that seed eventually grows. You just stop liking people. You just stop trusting VTubers. Stop trusting...
Joke's on you, I never liked people.
VTuber agencies.
I hate everything.
That once source of boundless joyful energy from your favorite streamer group could get spoiled by one bad Google Docky. Suddenly, you question if your OCs are the people you thought they were. You notice how fake a lot of things seem. It is reminiscent of celebrity culture before the internet was a thing. People loved actors. People really only hated certain celebrities for superficial reasons like, Justin Bieber gay or his music bad. But when the internet became a thing...
I never understood the hate for Justin Bieber. I don't know if it was a jealousy thing for kids or like other teen boys who are jealous of all the girls being obsessed with him. I never cared for him. I liked his song, the hit song, but I never cared for him particularly. He was just another singer to me.
They started yapping, and the more they opened their mouth...
I don't really like any singers, like Western singers. Michael Jackson would be an exception, but everyone likes Michael Jackson. He's generational. And most of the singers I like are Japanese.
Revealed how dumb, malicious, or profoundly unlikable they are. In but half a generation, their carefully crafted PR and identities got broken down online because they cannot shut the fuck up. Such a thing is happening in VTubing. Even VTubers that used to be uncritiquable now have critics because of the things they do or say, and sometimes it's even because of things they don't do or say. Figures like Bao, Amalie, Ironmouse, Shylily, and even fucking Iago.
Shylily?
While they are still beloved in the mainstream,
Iago too? What did he do? Or, I guess, the whole thing with Gura, right?
Character had been planted.
Gura hinted at something going wrong with HoloLive. That's why she left. She had disagreements with management. And she said that straight up in the open. So something's in the background was going wrong.
Already. And these doubts are no longer just living in 4chan boards and circles. They're a bit more widespread now. Just waiting for their next drama so they can jump like an alligator. And whether you agree or disagree with the criticisms around them, it's clear that
she's another mood tuber. A lot of people don't like her. I don't hate her. That's what I'm gonna say. Used to make fun of JB because he was a screaming vocalist and guitar player in a band around that time. Oh, I see. Star, how do I truly be free and create and say what I want? What is the secret to freedom? Just don't give a fuck. Who cares what people say? You make whatever you want to make. Some people are going to like it. Some people won't. Now, the only problem is when the payment processor comes up and tries to dictate what you should and shouldn't make. That's something you have to fight actively. But other than that, literally just stop caring. Do you think NCR creators care that people hate their genre? No. They make it because they like it. Do you think lolicons stop making lolly stuff because people hate their genre? No. They make it because they like it. What about Futanari? Feet lovers. Feet lovers are universally ostracized. I don't get it. There's worse stuff out there. A lot worse.
Are shifting against the medium as a whole. And I think this is just a symptom of the greater point, that people are noticing. And when people notice, they do one of two things: step back or double down. Those that aren't unemployed or do actually touch grass prefer to step back. But because these are VTuber fans that are dedicated and parasocial to their favorites, and because these are VTubers that need their platforms to be alive, most industry members opt to actually double down. Thus, the next D happens: division. Every VTuber wants to grow, no matter fucking what. Everyone wants the industry to improve and expand, but everyone sees how to do it differently. Old school traditional VTubers and fans prefer to keep it as it is when they joined, character-driven, dismissive of drama, a space truly and purely for weebs and losers. Lighthearted. Usually, these are your Hololive and small
I would have
agency
been like
fans.
this. The Hogwarts Legacy drama never happened. Or the Charlie Kirk assassination. Those two things are what made me who I am. Otherwise, I would have been just like Gura.
And VTuber fans who's been around since 2020 or 2021. Anyone that's adjacent to the JP side of the industry, really. But newer fans want to see it change. Bereft of idol culture, no parasocialism, able to show your faces, sanitized. These people came from the Twitch and Western streamer culture. So these two types of fans see certain acts or cultural aspects differently.
See, I'm in the middle. I'm in the center of this. I love the traditional VTuber culture, the Japanese roots. I always love Japan for that. But I'm a new person, I consider myself, than who I used to be. I feel like you should be able to do whatever you want. Within the law, of course. That's what I think.
For a few examples, traditional fans hate the trend hopping and engagement bait and the VTuber versus IRL because it's not something that VTubers of their era would do. It muddies how
VTubers versus IRL is bad. I hate it.
What a VTuber even means. Whereas newer fans absolutely enjoy it or don't mind. Newer fans hate a lot of the JP-sourced cultures of VTubing such as lolly, idol culture, and even the character bits, whereas traditional fans are absolutely okay with these and even love parts of it. Traditional fans wants to keep real-world affairs and politics out of their anime girls and values professionalism and orderliness. Whereas newer fans tend to value the lawlessness and wants to have current affairs follow them into their brand a lot of the time. This is VTubing's very specific brand of politics, and you might even notice that it has a very interesting reflection onto actual real-world politics. My perspective is that old fans were taken in by VTubing's very niche appeal. VTubing had its set culture, similar to any community. Its target demographic were originally people like me, weebs, nerds, and losers. But when VTubing got popular, many opportunistic e-girls as well as predatory businessmen saw a golden opportunity. And when the large influx of these people came, they chose to dismiss many of its cultural aspects and turned it into an aesthetic choice, or a brand new buzzword that they can pitch to investors or something. Some of the new people coming in aren't really even weebs. They're tourists that just saw what looks to be the cool new fresh hip thing, or just wanted to have the feeling of identifying with something.
I'm a weeb.
Always mourn,
but I also talk about politics aggressively and openly because I don't care what other people think.
The death of a culture that were made by nerds.
But I am a weeb first and foremost.
Because when said cultures became mainstream, a lot of what makes it soulful gets removed for something more normal. The current development of VTubing is just one of the mainstream's many victims, in my opinion. But at the same time, it's not like I liked all parts of the traditional culture too. For example, while I don't mind GFE or parasocial relationships and I even think it gets overly demonized, I also think that it's weird some traditional fans hate it when their Oshis talk to the opposite sex like a Holostar or Nijisanji member. That some people engage too deeply with it.
That was one thing I always couldn't stand. Idol culture is so toxic that you can't even talk to the opposite sex because the illusion of, you being with, the parasocial relationship gets damaged and that illusion that you have a chance with this person is broken. So that's the one thing of idol culture I don't like. That's more of an issue with the fans and the industry in Japan. That's one, not everything about Japan is good. Like the toxic work culture, train molesters. There are quite a bit of them. There's a lot of things in Japan that are not good. Like we put on a pedestal, but, every country has its problems.
Or have deluded themselves into thinking that these VTubers, these girls, are actually single. The tribalistic parts of idol culture is something I don't like. I don't like how
we all know Saba is pregnant, right?
certain bad situations are often downplayed because they don't like the negative air of drama and they perpetuate this forced air of sanitation. And in relation to that, I don't like how hugboxy it feels most of the time. Some of these people actually worship the multi-million-dollar agency and treat these adult women like they're toddlers. Criticism, even constructive, is not welcome. At the same time, something that I agree with the newer fans is self-expression. Being able to talk about problems in the industry is a good thing. Being able to do more with the concept of piloting a virtual character is cool, to a certain extent. For example, I think lewd tubing is fine, but even saying that is going to give me fierce pushback from traditional fans, and at the same time, it isn't enough to count me in as welcome in the newer fans.
See, I guess I'm in the middle. I like traditional VTubing, but I also like lewd tubing. I like being apolitical, but I also like talking about politics. There's I'm kind of having an identity crisis.
Tribe. But why I am talking about this isn't to broadcast my opinion, it's to explain that my situation is only one of many, and it's a consequence of this big divide. Nuances are thrown out of the window to favor agendas and broader...
Nuances never existed on the internet. Everyone thinks with their dick, or their pussy, or their heart. They don't think with their brain.
More extreme narratives. You, as a fan or a VTuber, are categorized based off of vibes, based off of the VTubers that you watch, and you are supposed to help the collective push the
Jesus Christ, those are massive. Who is this?
Agenda, even if there are things you disagree with on your own
Those
tribe.
are gigantic.
I remember back in the day, there used to be cross-pollination between cultures. Holo and Twitch VTuber fans, for example, were like curious and generally welcoming citizens that wanted to meet.
No, wait, that's Andrea? Why is she not so different?
Based off of vibes, based off of the VTubers that you watch, and you are...
Is that a new outfit? She looks so different.
Supposed to help the collective push the agenda even if there are things you disagree with on your own tribe. I remember back in the day, there used to be cross-pollination between cultures. Holo and Twitch VTuber fans, for example, were like curious and generally welcoming citizens that wanted to meet with each other and see the sides of their nations. It used to be a big deal, and an entire event even, when a Hololive member would collab with a VShoujo member or a Nijisanji EN member. For example, do we all remember the Romeo and Juliet memes of Kiara and Pomo? But again, as time passed on, the differences grew too big. Incidents such as the big Nijisanji EN Discord leak, the VShoujo Nuxtaku situation, Salengate, the Wizard Game incident, and other politically laced VShoujo differences grew too big. Incidents such as the big Nijisanji...
I don't remember the Nuxtaku thing. I think I had my own issues with Nuxtaku. I had my own issues with him. What he did to Rev, that's something I can't move on from. At least, not for a while.
GEN Discord leak, the V-Shoujo Nuxtaku situation, Salengate, the Wizard Game incident, and other politically laced drama created a sense of animosity between each other. And yes, there are still traditional fans that like new VTubers and new VTuber fans that like traditional VTubers, but we rarely see cross-cultural pollination happen anymore. And I think that's a sad thing. Of course, between the traditional and new fans, they have their own sub-factions, right? Incidents like the Cinderdoki drew circles in the indie sphere, how that fandom doesn't even know if they should like Filian or not, the Holostars accent in Sameko sphere, how that fandom doesn't even know if they should like Filian or not, the Holostars accent in Sameko Sabadrat also tore divide.
Sama left, came back to announce overpriced merch, and then left again without another word. That's funny, I'm not gonna lie. That's true, I mean, she's focusing on that baby. Gotta make money for the baby.
Group, both are not as unified as you might think. I could draw a map of these groups of people, as well as their factions, but that would require me to go full.
When you're as big as someone like Saba, you don't just throw that away without a good reason. She's made a lot of money. But at the same time, either it's a health risk or IRL issues to, something major is going on in her life. Because she has been inactive for so long.
Autist mode and speculate like a motherfucker. Maybe I'll do that in another video or something. As a whole, these frequent clashes, these attempts to gain popularity, the disillusioned people who see the industry for what it is, culminate in the last D. Drama. Aside from political grifting, engagement baiting, copycatting, virtue signaling, aesthetic stealing, and goonerism, there is also drama farming. Now obviously, I'm part of this problem. I've been making videos about VTubing since late 2021, and I originally didn't start covering drama a lot. I was broadly focused towards commentary and recalling events, but during the big 2024, I pivoted somewhat. And now I stream at least once a week talking about the drama that happens in the industry, and I upload highlights and clips onto my second channel. I have a passion for autistically talking about issues, events, and wider topics about VTubing as a culture and medium. That's what my main channel is for. But me doing drama was a natural step in the pipeline. And the thing is, it's successful. In fact, it is so fucking successful that sometimes even my highlights channel actually beats my main channel in terms of monthly viewership. But the thing is, I'm not the only one that did this,
I have to start uploading vids again.
Especially in 2024 and 2025. In fact, I would like to think I'm one of the slower ones. Kyo and False ID are gone, and some of the drama-hating parts of the industry celebrate that, but the thing is, they left a massive gap in the market. People that were worse or better were eventually going to replace them, and that gap, that demand, was filled in by creators like Kazahana and Lydia, fucking even Katliente to a certain extent. And that's only on the YouTube side of things. The drama coverage and discussion on the Twitter side is inarguably 100 times worse. On Twitter, it's not just drama and news tubers that talks about news and drama, it's fucking everyone. Everyone has something to say about current event. So in VTubing, whenever something bad happens and if you're on the goddamn site, you're going to know or hear about it one way or another. And the sheer number of people drama peddling makes the negative air around the industry thicker. So much so that—
Hey, whose fault is that? The people causing the drama. Forgive me for talking about it.
that 1 week without major drama is actually a godsend. VTuber fans can actually breathe for a bit, and I actually get to watch some streams. Blocking people like me isn't really even enough to stop drama from appearing in your timeline at this point. Again, you will hear about drama one way or another. Your timeline might even get full of it, and it's only a matter of time and topic that you will eventually participate in it as well. The main point of this particular D, the core of it,
at this point, it is what it is. Milk the cow until it's completely dry. That's the Enchima. Or that's VTubing in the modern day, I guess.
That negativity sells. Agenda posting. Publicly throwing shade at people you don't like but did nothing to you. Creating Google Docs for the most nothing burger issues. Ignoring healthy communication with your peers so you can make a big stink about it. Virtue signaling and vague posting about the bad thing are all meta strats employed by VTubers big and small. Even the ones that you know. Whether you want to admit it or not, a lot of VTubers start drama or exactly know what they're doing by saying or doing something inflammatory, whether for attention or for their own unspoken agenda.
Yeah, like saying the N-word. Oh my god.
All of this compounds. Because people are having a difficult time gaining attention, there's going to be drama. Because people are disillusioned, there's going to be drama. Because people are divided, there is going to be.
You shot their parents only to have something to report. You can't fool us. You're an ex-VTuber, since you have the courage now to face cam. I see. I would never do that though. Especially since I'm making adult entertainment, I guess. And that's polarizing. Especially, you know, I would never show my face.
Drama. When the industry is filled and dominated
I can
by
barely
high
show
school
my voice because people would recognize who I am. That's why I use a filter to help mask it. But I'm trying to learn how to do it naturally.
minded people, this becomes a toxic and deliberate self-sustaining cycle. I think these are the main reasons why VTubing has become so negative.
It's hard.
I'm sure you have something to say that I might have missed, but I think whatever you can think of will roughly fit into one of the 4Ds. Again, admittingly, I am part of this cycle. But I guarantee you 99% of the creators and fans in this space are all part of the cycle too. Many of the VTubers you like might have also politically grifted or currently is, might have also done bad engagement bait or sympathy or rage baits up till now, might have virtue signaled and still do, might have grandstanded and still do, might have started or peddled drama and still do. We just need to be a bit honest with ourselves. Everyone has sort of a hand in setting precedents that made the industry a tiny bit worse. Worse in this case is subjective, but the discussion of it still breeds that same air of conflict, of negativity. And I think that's why we can't go back to the way it used to be. We were just so optimistic and captured by the...
No. And honestly, it shouldn't go back to the way it used to be. Not until we get rid of the undesirables. Be the denim seer Hassan? What?
Magical nature of VTubing, now we don't have that figurative anesthesia anymore. However,
Sana's
even
theme,
if
you
that's
miss
the
her
case,
so much.
there is still a way to
it's
engage in VTubing that might preserve a little bit of that
She was
magic
literally
if
the
it's
only
still on
one
your
I
person.
watched
And it's
at
to
Apollo
uninstall
Live
Twitter.
Gen 2.
No, seriously, just uninstall Twitter. 99% of the drama comes from Twitter, okay? Or heck, a less effective yet sort of valid way is to block people. You don't want to hear about drama? Block it. You don't like certain VTubers? Block them and their fans. Yeah. To a certain extent, the happiest remaining VTuber fans are the ones that are ignorant of the bullshit that is going on in Twitter and usually just stick to their own circles. Clip watchers who only watch the occasional VTuber clips or don't give too much of a fuck to delve deep into threads. Casuals who engage with a little bit of everyone. Stream watchers that focus their energy entirely on the VTuber and their group streams and only engage with the peers and community instead of everything else. Unironically, the one effective way that I've noticed the happier parts of the industry do is just to ignore everything else. No engaging with it, just ignoring it. Try doing that in 2026. Focusing all your energy into having fun instead of anything else was unironically the source of positivity in 2020. The rest of the world was negative, especially with the pandemic, but VTubers allowed an outlet to be able to have fun by ignoring the world for a bit. In a sense, just do the same thing that we've all done before, albeit more deliberate this time. Despite the flawed nature of VTubing and its people, I still call it my home. There's a reason I keep coming back to it even after my 10th graduation / hiatus. It's a fucked up place, but there's life here. It's still beautiful. There are still sights to behold, people to meet, subcultures and communities to explore.
What is this footage?
And 2D girls to simp for, obviously. So despite the absolute state of VTubing, I'm gonna stick around. And, you know, I hope some of the people watching this video still do too.
Awesome. Yeah, give that video a like. That was, Depressed Nousagi. I don't agree with everything he says, but he is a classic weeb, you can tell. You know. He, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much what he said. Yeah, it's a cool dude. The thing is, culturally, we've reached a point where we can't go back. And it would actually going back would be bad for everyone. I think it's time that people saw things for how they were instead of, closing their eyes to the drama. I get it. I get the whole I wanted to be left alone and not be political and just focus on stuff I love. I get it. And I support that. But there comes a time where you realize the things you love are under attack. They're literally killing or encouraging mangaka to kill themselves over the art they draw. They're doxing, harassing, some threats, and their side gets away with it because our side is too complacent or was too complacent. So we have to, in my opinion, we have to fight back. There's no more time, in my opinion, to ignore it or just, pretend everything's fine. Because it's not. I go out of my way to search for this stuff in order to attack it head on. Last words before bed, don't focus on the past. Focus on creating a better future. Yeah. He's a bit homosexual, but you tolerate him? Oh my god. I'm glad I was able to stream tonight. But it's getting late and I'm tired. You actually didn't realize Hayden Panettiere voiced Kyrie, which hurts even more. You met Goofy's voice actor in real life, Bill Farmer. Super nice guy. Yeah, I met Bill Farmer once too, I think, when I was young, a little kid. But yeah, what happened to Hayden really sucks, man. It's so tragic. She died so young. And honestly, it's so tragic. She never found peace. Apparently, it was an overdose. Apparently, I don't know if that's accurate, but so she was battling demons for a long time. The depression in Hollywood, the pressure, all of that stuff. Then I guess it got too much for her. So sad. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm trying so hard to be more consistent. I know I've been on and off with streaming lately. Just so much has been happening. I'm trying so hard. I really am. But, I guess before we go, I could show you guys some more monsters for my game. All right. Let's do this. This one is Vilemut. Vilemut. So it's like a Cerberus, hellhound type thing. And then evolves into Duo, Vilemut. And then, of course, you get Trio, the Cerberus. Really cool. Show me Chunky Goo Goo Gaga. Wait, I drew them? Hell no, I use AI. I can't draw worth shit. Ooh, this one's cool. This one is Glyphibian, and it evolves into Swamp King Glyphibian. And yes, it has a mouth on its belly. It's supposed to be a nightmare fuel. You're welcome. Sweet dreams. Alright, there's some good ones I could show. Do I have a frog girl creature? No, but I have Spider Girl, Arashi, and she has two forms she can evolve for. So she can evolve into either Dainty Girl. Nice, right? Or she can evolve into Battle Girl, depending on how you raise her. I don't like spiders, but I'm willing to compromise for this one. Yeah, so that's Arashi. You like the chibi? Yeah, she's really cute. Let's try a Nordic monster. Ooh! Did I show this one already? I showed the ones that are based off of Thor, Loki, and Hela, right? I don't know if I showed them yet. I think I should do this one. Thor, or Thundor, I call him. He's based off of Thor. I think the hammer might be a little too big, but eh. And this one is Loki, based off of Loki. I really like how this one turned out. And this one is Hela dead. Oh, wait, oh, no, that's not the one. That's Karkakalypse. I didn't mean to show you that one. The Kraken, Kraken is Norse mythology. This one is Hela dead. Cause you're hella dead. Eh? I mean, she's cute. I really like how she turned out. You got the dying leaves, skull earrings. Yeah, she's really good. Cow female? Where'd Gina go? Oh, the octopus? I do have a female cow. Did I leak it by accident? Did you see it? Okay. Wait, no, I think I showed this before. This is Milstar. Right? And it evolves into Holstar Girl. It's literally just a girl and a cow out there. I know, but that's the point. So yeah, you go from this to this. Did I use Sage Light already? I think you guys seen Sage Light. Sage Light, the wise owl, becomes Tome Keeper. Very Digimon-like. So yeah, from this to this. So yeah, I'm lifting my fedora right now and saying goodnight, my lady. Like a real DC mod would. Gotta get up in 4 hours. I hear you. Good night. We're almost done anyway. Have a good night. Get some sleep. All right. Let's see. Got any more that are hot? No, I can't show you. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet and show you one of my legendaries. This is Eon 9. Get it like Eon, like time, and K9? Eon 9. But she has another form. So if you're not a furry, well, maybe you like this better. Is it breedable? This one is. Love the plus? Thank you. This is Kuiru. Don't stare at him too long. He'll eat your soul. And I guess that's it for now. I really don't want to show off too many, because a lot of them have to be a surprise for the final game. I have good news. I recently started development. So now, I'm gonna be, I've actually finished most of my testing phase. So now I can actually start the game properly. I guess you could say I'm officially in development. And don't worry. My other H game is coming too. However, I think it's going to be a lot shorter than what I initially wanted. A lot shorter. A lot shorter than before. Because I really want to focus on this new game. But I'm not going to abandon it. I started it, I'm going to keep going. Vaporeon lore, cross-species integration, and good night, Jackson. Thanks for joining. And with that, I think we'll end stream.